All right, y'all. So I'm not going to look at the underlying energy since we got so many cards to work with, and we already have like past energy. So it's going to pretty much help us, pretty much tell us what we're focusing on anyway with this reading. So I'm going to pull I may pull clarifiers. I'm not 100% sure yet. However, let's go ahead and start with just the past, present, future. All right. So Seven of Pentacles. So for a lot of you guys could have been really having the time of your life, pretty much figuring out what it is that you want. Maybe you could be enjoying and indulging in some not influences, but like having fun, drinking, escaping a little bit. It's totally totally acceptable. For a lot of you guys could have been partying. I honestly feel like there was a lot of fantasy and things going on. That's what I like with this card. And for some of you guys, this could indicate that there is a lot of decisions that have been presented to you, or a lot of options given to you recently, and you're having to figure out what it is that you're trying to do, what it is that you want, what it is that really stands out to you that you really want to go for. Okay, so there are potentially some options that really required you to look at it very closely. And it's going to require, in the past, it had required you to be very careful about what you choose, because you may not get what exactly they're trying to offer. Like, it may be awesome and amazing, but at what cost? And is it really that amazing once you get it? Okay, you can get diamond pearls, but if you don't ever go anywhere, it's kind of like useless at that point. Now, with the Seven of Cups, you do lead on to the Hangman. So this decision making becomes, a situation where there is limbo and there is, stagnancy, but only to see something from a different perspective. So you may have gotten something, or you may be stuck, with these decisions, and you're trying to figure out where you're going to be going from here. What is this perspective you need from the option that you chose? What is the decision that you need to be clear on on the situation that you're in? Okay, so that could be another situation that you're dealing with here. Okay, now with the Hangman too, it does indicate that there is a period of release as well, and surrendering. Okay, you may have to release something, something that's been holding you from being able to see what your truth is, or see what the insight may be, the perspective that you're trying to gain. Potentially, you may have to surrender something. You may have had to surrender to some sort of perspective of some sort. We're going to get back to this in a moment, but here in the future, which I like, you guys have the King of Cups. So potentially there's somebody that could be coming in, a Capricorn, an Aquarius. Oh, nope. King of Cups, the card for the King of Cups is Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. Okay, but potentially Scorpio, since this is their card and you have Scorpio energy here. So there could be some serious Scorpio energy. Watch out. I'm not saying that Scorpios are dangerous or anything like that, but when they want something, so you better be ready. All I know, what I'm saying, they make sure, okay, that they are, they are going to get what they want, okay, and it's not like it's a bad thing. It's actually very attractive, in my opinion, because they know what they want, they go for it, and there's nothing that stops them. Their ancient ruler is Mars, right? So anyway, this is not about Scorpio. You could potentially have a Scorpio coming in, or potentially another Pisces or a Cancer. But I get this feeling as well that for some of you that may not have an individual in your life, you could potentially feel a lot more in love. You may feel emotionally open. You may even have a better idea of what your heart's desire is, considering that the first thing that we looked at, right, was decision making about what it is that you're going after, what your heart's desire is. And I feel like with this heart's, with your idea of what you feel will make you happy, it will make a lot of the, sequences forward a lot easier for you as well, because you know what you want. Now, back to the past, we're focusing on the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is very, Seven of Cups can be very, very confusing at times, and it's not that the card itself is confusing. It's that the situation that you're in when this card comes up is typically kind of hard to, it's hard to I don't know. I don't want to say well, pretty much it is assessed, because what you're looking at is all these options that can be very wonderful and very glamorous, right? Very alluring and attractive. You're not necessarily sure if they can offer you that after you've picked it, right? If you can expect a life of luxury and happiness with the options that you chose, right? So potentially there was a lot of fantasy, there was a lot of fun, there was a lot of, imagination, this, escaping into a different realm. And I feel like that was, in a way, it was exciting, but internally you had the Ace of Swords. So you did have a new perspective that you potentially were utilizing. You gained some sort of perspective, possibly from a past energy. Okay. And I do feel like here you may have even had a new way of communicating at this time, because you do have cards, you do have another card here that's about communication. So I feel like more of these are ideals, potentially, more so than communication, since this is talking about internal energy. Let me show you the card, Ace of Swords. Okay, so the Ace of Swords is potentially talking about how you think or what your perspective is. And I feel like, yeah, this is a new perspective, because potentially you have some things that may not have been on your radar. You may not have seen some of these before, and you can be potentially curious. Now, in the external energy, you had great energy. This is honestly really good. The reason why I was like, this could be fantasy, this could be great, this could be wonderful, but you also have decisions to make. Well, it's because you have the 10 of Pentacles. It's a really stable energy. You're surrounded by friends and family, people that love you. You could be also building a legacy at this time. You could, started a legacy with someone, trying to, expand the generations, or have, leave something behind for generations. So I'm getting this sense, right? I'm getting the sense that for a lot of you guys here, there may have been some sort of decision about where you wanted to go in regards to that, or where else you want to pursue with this Nine of Pentacles. And that can be a little confusing as well, because especially when you're not sure of what your heart's desire is. Potentially this could be in even career, but this is a love reading, so potentially somebody could be offering you something in regards to leaving your comfort zone, or leaving this place of security and support and stability for something new. So if that's being said, right, if that's what's potentially happening, then definitely you're going to have the Hangman in the present, right? You're going to feel like, like you don't really know where to move forward from. You've had this, you thought you had this Ace of Swords, potentially, you had new ways of thinking, etc. But in your present moment, you're having to kind of take a step back and really look at it from another angle. Perhaps this person may be like, maybe very alluring and very enticing and very sweet, but you have to see them for all angles. Potentially that is what you guys have learned, right? See it from another angle, so you can gain the perspective that you need to make the decision about what you want to make. Now, internally, you have the Knight of Swords. So potentially this person moves in very fast, or you guys are feeling like moving very fast. You wanted to get somewhere. I feel like you guys are, honestly, you guys could even feel like you're making progress, which is really great. Considering the Hangman is about, stop, don't move, look at it for a second. It's really good that you feel like you are making progress, even if you're not moving, if you're not doing anything, if you're not really, making progress towards anything, because in a way you are making progress, which is a good way to look at it. You're making progress in what it is that you want. You're making progress in what it is that's being presented to you, right? Because you're seeing things from a different perspective. You're understanding how they are working. You may not have a clear idea, you may end up, really, taking a long time with this energy, because you have death here. Death is a slow energy, and it's really, that comes after the Hangman. But most importantly, I feel like you are making progress in a certain direction, despite how slow it may be or how stagnant it is. But the most important thing to get you out of the situation is really continue to do what you're doing, right? It's to look at the situation from a different perspective. Really look at it, right? Because there may be things that come up about this individual that you may be like, that's a red flag, or this is the person that has been in my life, that I've been wanting for in my life for forever. For those of you that are single. Now, if this is for a relationship, potentially, yeah, and you know how this person works and stuff, you're not necessarily sure, take time out to really see how things are. Now, you may have an agenda, or you may have an idea of what your heart's desires may potentially be, or you may, honestly, you may have this 10 of Pentacles and you feel very good about where you are. It provides clarity, you're stable, supportive, and secure. You're going to be open to new ideas. You're going to have, open to, you're going to be open to new ways of thinking. So this energy here, it's going to be easy to make a decision, you think, but at the same time, it's going to potentially lead you out of the 10 of Pentacles, which does make you feel very, that does kind of like stop you in your tracks, and you have to figure out what it is that you really want to do. The Knight of Swords fights for his truth. He knows what his truth is. He goes after it. And I feel like potentially you already have your perspective. So that's why I potentially said in the very beginning that you may have to release a certain perspective of your own, because there's something here that you need to see that's different from the one that you feel very, very passionate about, that you feel very, you feel very serious about here. Okay, and that potentially could be that death, right? Your death of a perspective, death of an old way of thinking, or death of a way of thinking that potentially is holding you back from being able to gain more, to prosper, because you are potentially, because there's something that's holding space. The reason potentially why there's even space being held right now, or what it is that's being held, is potentially that this old way of this new way of thinking that was in the past here, it's become now old. And it's not really fresh. It can't bring in anything new. And it could have been because of some pains that you experienced. You're in a place of comfort, you're in a place of security. Yeah, you're going to have a certain way of thinking about it, right? You're going to have a certain way of thinking, but it may be too practical that it's holding you down. It's keeping you from being able to be open to new things. So that's potentially why death is coming up, to relieve you of earthly matter, to relieve you of earthly material, earthly things. Potentially, you have to look emotionally about how you feel about things rather than practical. That's probably why you have Pentacles here, right here. And I feel like with you releasing the practical, you will gain more, but it's going to require you to. It's going to require you to release right now. Now, since this is releasing energy, this is all about letting go, surrendering to the situation, and seeing the perspective that you need, releasing the one that you potentially have, the perspective that's been holding you back potentially. Okay, because everything happens for a reason. It's not a bad thing. You will be more open. You'll be more emotionally open. You feel better about how about yourself. You even potentially will feel you even potentially feel more open and in love with yourself, with your surroundings, with the person that you're with. You may feel, you may have an idea even of what it is that you emotionally want, what really gets you going, that you'll remember how important it is to feel rather than to have, if that makes sense. All right. Or potentially mostly just to have, because 6 of Pentacles, I have a message for that one. Now, internally, there is an inner conflict, right? I feel like there is a bit of inner conflict. For some of you guys, you may have been giving too much, or you guys may have been taking too much. The whole point of it is there needs to be a balance, right? So when the 5 of Wands comes up, I do get the sense that there is, you feel a lot of things, right? You feel love, but there is still a lot of things you feel that's other than love. You could potentially feeling a lot of turmoil, a lot of feeling of needing to do something, but there's still a lot of passion and energy internally. But externally, you could either be giving too much or taking too much, and the balance needs to be reshapen. All right. But potentially, though, I feel like the inner turmoil potentially could be that. It could be of the support that you're gaining, or the support that you give or gain from the person that you're with, and that balance needs to be reset. Especially if you're not feeling as though you're being loved, or you're being supported in anything that you're doing. Okay, so it's really interesting. So you go from decision making to releasing the perspective to accepting this perspective, opening emotionally, but you have conflict and potentially, in the conflict internally about what, okay, or doing something. It's about action, taking action. So you may have inner conflict about taking action about something. You could also have an age difference with this individual, but I don't think so. This is also, you could be dealing with Aries. But most importantly, I feel like there is this inner conflict about what actions you should take in regards to building boundaries for yourself. Because you're going to be more, you're dealing with somebody that's either emotionally open and you're emotionally open. This could be the both of you, or this could be you really mastering your ability to give yourself that emotional support that you need. But at the same time, your conflict has a lot to do with taking control of the situation. It has a lot to do with making the move, if that makes sense. And I feel like you may end up, but you will give graciously potentially. With that Six of Cups, a Six of Pentacles, there will be a balance, or there is some things rebalancing itself. With the Six of Pentacles, though, you want to be careful because you want to give with generosity. You don't want to give with intention or expectation because it does hinder the manifestation process. And I feel like that's what you have to. That's why we had to figure out what you want, release earthly, ideas and perspectives to be able to give without attachment or to give without expectation. Okay, to be supportive to the people that you love, or to be able to receive support from the people that you love. Okay, you don't have to necessarily, always give and not receive. So for some of you guys that are giving too much, you potentially have to release the way you guys think about how you give or how you support the people that you love. You don't have to do that all the time. It's okay to be able to receive that. Okay, and it's totally acceptable for you to, to give that as well and taking action. It's all about, because this is a very yin and yang energy. This is more of the not doing, and this is about doing. Let's go ahead and see what's going on in your love life with the whispers of love. Well, okay then. You guys have the heart of the matter. There is more going on than meets the eye. Recognize this with recognize what this is all about. That's pretty much the Hangman. It's interesting. I put this right here. This is talking about the Hangman. There's something else that meets the eye. So you have to really look within. You have to look outward. You have to see very clearly. It's hard, no doubt, because you don't know what you're looking for, but you'll know it when you see it. Trust me, you'll know it. And I feel like there will be a balance that will be, retained or re-given based off of how you feel, based off of your emotions, based off of what you feel, especially about regards to support. There's going to be some sort of emotional opening here in the future. And I feel like honestly, it all happened in this moment here.